Welcome to Manny's TV Talk, where we will talk about all of our favorite reality TV shows and news surrounding them. Grab a snack, a drink, and get comfortable because this starts now. Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Real Housewives of New Jersey because season 14 is back. Let's get right into this.
In prison, correct?
You're gonna let me talk?
Wait, you said that to
You're gonna
my
let me talk?
husband.
You're gonna let me talk?
Right,
You're gonna let me talk?
tremendous.
Conversation's over. I can't talk to somebody who doesn't listen. You don't listen. You're talking to a drug dealer.
You guys, I'm so happy that the Housewives drought is over. The famine is over. It is time to eat. Listen, I was getting pretty bored on Sunday nights. I was like, where are the Housewives? So, New Jersey's back, and let's get right into this because this was an amazing premiere to the season. So we begin this season with this dramatic, foreshadowing, cold opening intro. The queen, Dolores Cantina, is sitting in a table that is full of broken plates, broken glass, forks, knives. It was crazy. It was a horrible sit down that is coming up this season. And from the previews, it looks like it's going to be crazy, chaotic, and out of this world. But then we go back in time to 3 months earlier because we got to see how we got there. So we see little clips of the women at home, but the first scene is at the Fuda household. As you remember, Rachel and John Fuda have a boy in his late teens who Rachel adopted. He is John's biological son, and they have 2 little girls together. Rachel has her extended family come over, her parents, siblings, grandmother. They had this cookout and they're eating. Rachel says that one of the little girls is having a speech problem because she has a tongue tie, which that sucks. So they're going to have to be taking her to a lot of appointments to get that figured out. So they're having a great time just hanging out. And she also says that she's going to invite all the girls because she's kind of helping throw this surprise party for Jen Fessler's birthday. She texted all the ladies, including Jennifer and Teresa. Rachel is still upset that Louis got them investigated and all that stuff that happened last season. But Rachel is like, listen, at the end of the day, this was not my party and it wasn't for me or my family. It was for Jennifer Fessler, so that's why I did it. John says that if he sees Louis, he's just gonna nod and keep it moving. Then we see Miss Melissa Gorga, honey. Her home has been remodeled, refurbished, whatever you want to call it. Her daughter Antonia is leaving to college, so Melissa is helping her pack to leave. And then the whole family comes over. Then Melissa made a little comment that I think was shady about Joe helping another girl. Like she said something to the effect of, oh, well, this wouldn't be the first time you help a girl move to college. Obviously, she was talking about Gia. Melissa talks about Jen Fessler's party. They know that Teresa's going to be there, which is pretty funny for them because Teresa did say to Melissa that she wouldn't be there any longer, but she is. And then Joe says that he doesn't give an F. And they're talking about how what they should gift Jen Fessler, and Joe had this crazy idea to give her a framed picture of that actor that she had a little liaison with. So with Antonia leaving for college, the same thing is going on with Teresa Giudice. So we see her daughter is leaving to college as well. And Teresa says that she is actually feeling it a little bit more this time than when Gia left. I don't know, she's just feeling a little bit more emotional. Then the family goes to have dinner, and then Teresa is looking at the wedding pictures that they got back. Great pictures. Teresa really feels like this is her soulmate. She feels like this is her happily ever after. As far as the party, and when it comes to seeing the Gorgas, again, Teresa says to Louis, just follow my lead, but we're not going to do anything with them. So then we see Jen Fessler. She was playing the guitar, which is cool. I didn't know she did that. And then we see her husband and her daughter, who I don't remember seeing last season, so it's nice seeing a little bit more of her life. Then Margaret comes over. Now, Margaret brought her a gift, a vibrator. What? So then they go outside. Jen has a beautiful backyard and they're eating. And then they talk about some things. So Margaret is going through a lot. She feels like she always has a lot on her plate and she doesn't really take time to sit back and to process and think things over. And lately, the grieving for Jan, her ex-husband, has been hitting her hard. She realizes that she is going to be doing a lot of things without him. She was so emotional. It was really sad. And then Jen's actual birthday was a few days ago, so she's telling Margaret about the people who reached out, who sent happy birthday to her. She's talking about Danielle, Jennifer, Teresa, and Margaret says, listen, Teresa and that husband of hers are dead to me. dead. And Jen says, well, I understand. If someone called my child at his workplace and threatened him, I would never be okay with that. But Jen says, maybe I could talk to Teresa about it. But Marge says, no, do not bring it up. And Jen says that she won't, and that she ultimately will be ride or die for Margaret. Moving along, we see Dolores and Paulie, aka Buzz Lightyear. I'm just kidding. I like Paulie. So they are going to dinner with Louie and Teresa, a little double date. Also, apparently Paulie can't handle Italian food. He had meatballs and was like practically dying. That sucks. That would be such a red flag. But anyway, so Teresa says to Dolores, we're two girls from Patterson dating, or in her case, married to men who are not Italian but have Italian names. Then they ask Paulie when he's going to put a ring on it. Paulie says, I got to get divorced first. And he says that he really wants to give Dolores the proper engagement that she deserves. They talk a little bit about the kids going away for college because Dolores has, dealt with this before. And then Dolores says, this at Jen's party, this is going to be the first time where the entire group is together since the reunion. So Louis actually says that he reached out to John Fuda a few days ago so they could meet up and talk. John did reply, but he said that they should probably just talk at the party. Teresa says that if she sees Margaret, she'll probably just say hi, conversation. But then when Dolo asks, what about your brother Melissa? Teresa says, no, absolutely not. I'm not going to say nothing, not even a hi. Then Teresa starts to reveal some information. So she says that Frank Catania, the dad, told Teresa and Louie that a few days before the reunion, they met on Margaret's house to come up with a plan to go after Teresa and Louie. On top of that, Teresa just found out that Danielle heard Jen Fessler say to them after the reunion, to the group that came up with this little plan, y'all didn't execute the plan correctly. Now, Paulie is saying that he heard it too. So Teresa's going to bring this up. Now, I will say, just because a group of people got together before the reunion to come up with a plan doesn't necessarily mean that what they were saying was a lie. It just means that they we're coming up with a game plan. In fact, Dolores even said something about that being kind of common when you're doing reunions. Then the next day, it's time for the party. We see Jennifer Aydin, who I don't really like her a lot. She just came back from Italy. Her husband is doing some surgery. And Teresa came without Louis. Then Teresa brings up that John Fuda's ex, the criminal, the one that was in jail, had come out and said that apparently John was a big drug dealer and that he likes to use dildos. Okay, that's a lot. So then the people start to arrive. A lot of people, nice venue. Danielle and Rachel are really getting along. That's nice. Jackie was there. Child, Dolores is getting the same question left and right. When you're going to get married? But she's not really in a rush. And then Frank, on the other hand, though, he just got a new house. He wasn't at this party, but they mentioned that he got a new house and he's getting married soon. So he's really, getting his life together. You guys, when Teresa and Jennifer walked in, it was really awkward because, first of all, the guys were all together. Of course, Teresa only said hey to a few of them. Joe and her didn't even look at the same direction. Although it does look like Jennifer is in a better standing with most of the cast versus Teresa, because even Margaret said hi to Jennifer. But when Margaret saw Teresa, she walked right away. She did not want to be anywhere near Teresa. So they get a message that Jen was on her way. So they all got together. They were quiet. And then when she walked in, they screamed surprise. Jen was totally surprised because all her family was there and so many friends. And she just really was excited and I loved it. Everyone then just begins to kind of just hang out, drink, eat. Now, let me tell you one thing about New Jersey. The men are going to have some fun. But then they're having fun or whatnot, but it starts to get a little heated. Joe asks Paulie, where's your boy? Talking about Louis. And Paulie says, he's in a trip for a business. And John says, that's interesting because, I told him that he wanted to talk. I told him, let's talk here. And then Paulie starts to get a little heated and says, he did tell me about that. But honestly, I didn't think the party was the best place for y'all to talk. You probably should have given him a meeting. John Fuda says, why would I give a man who disrespected my family the time of day? So John Fuda starts to get angry because he thinks that Paulie is kind of picking a side. And Paulie's starting to get angry too. I don't know if his face is naturally red, but it was definitely red here. But they start to go back and forth. John says, have you ever heard me tell anyone that I hired a private investigator to investigate them? So they're arguing, and then Paulie says, why don't you shut the F up and let me finish? John says, when you tell me to shut the F up, it's really going to go left. So Dolores had to get in the middle of that and said, it's time to go. Soon, people begin to leave, and then Teresa goes up to Rachel and says, listen, your husband came for my husband. Rachel says, listen, I think they just got to have a conversation. By the way, where is he? And Teresa says, he is in a business meeting and this isn't even the place anyway. Rachel says, it is, because John would have probably pulled him outside and they would have had a chat there privately. And Teresa is like, no, they gotta be gentlemen. They gotta meet privately. Rachel says, what do you know about gentlemen? Because Louis ain't no gentleman. Teresa says, my husband is a gentleman. And then that's where Teresa starts to throw these allegations that they were talking about earlier about John being a drug dealer and whatnot. Then as she's walking away, by the way, I thought it was hilarious that Jennifer and Teresa, when they were leaving, they had a little goodie bag and they were stacking that bag full of the candy, which I don't blame them. But I thought that was pretty funny. But as Teresa is walking out, she screams to John something about the double-sided dildo, which I think is kind of messed up because I don't know if it's true, but even if it is, don't shame him for that. I mean, that's kind of, I don't know. So then Rachel tells John what Teresa just said. So then Rachel says, Teresa, why don't you tell my husband what you just said about him? So that's where Teresa and John get into it. Teresa says, that's what your ex-wife said. And John says, stop trying to hit me. I can't. And then they're arguing about who went to jail, who didn't, who's a criminal, who was a drug dealer. It was crazy. John says, I can't have a conversation with someone who can't listen. And then as Teresa walks away, he says, has been. And that was the end for the first episode of season 14. Again, it was great. It was explosive. It was exactly what I expected from Jersey. Jersey works. I know when you think about it, they've had the same cast. I mean, obviously last season they added Rachel and Danielle, but for the most part, they've had the same cast for over 6 years now. And I think that one of the reasons why it's like that is because it's always consistently worked. They always have drama. Now, how will this season look? I think it's going to look good. I know that Andy Cohen came out and said that as we see the rest of the season, it's going to become clear that it can't continue like this with Teresa, Margaret, and Melissa refusing to be together. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'm excited to see it. What did y'all think about the first episode? Did y'all like it? And what did y'all think of this first episode of season 14? Let me know, you guys. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all have a great one. Bye.